I'm Heidi Wright, and I'm an animal communicator. Animal communication is an intuitive exchange between humans and the animals. And the reason why I prefer the term animal communicator is because it's an exchange. Whereas lots of times the word psychic, you talk about what you perceive, but with communication, it is an exchange. Well, that is the $1,000,000 question. I'd love to know how it works. I don't know exactly how it works, but it's done on an intuitive level or with what we call telepathy. So it is mind to mind, soul to soul. It's an energy exchange. And when the information comes, it comes in thoughts, feelings, emotions, images, and physical sensation. Well, when I hear the term Lemuria, the first thing I think of is Mount Shasta. And because I can see Mount Shasta from my house every single day, when I heard about the Lemurians, I actually started reading books and everything, and I'm just so fascinated. To me, it's the idea of an entire culture living in the interior of that mountain. So whether or not that's true, I would love to find out. But that's the first thing I think of when I hear Lemurian. And the other thing is Lemurian seed crystals. I always love that idea of the crystals being instrumental in the energy. And since I can see the aura of Mount Shasta every single day, well, there's not cloud cover, I think of it a lot. So I'm so happy to be a part of this. Usually when I am drawn to a crystal, I ask why. What is it about that particular crystal? Is it rose quartz? Is it black tourmaline? So I look into what the crystal can do and then what I need. But then there is also an energy signature. And I think one of the best ways to describe that is relatable to most people. It's like subtle flavors of something like either a tea or a coffee. There is a big difference between, say, a lemon tea and a matcha tea. And once you become attuned to these energies, you can tell the difference, and each one has different properties that can benefit you at different times. So the whole crystal thing is just as complex as animals, and it's just as fascinating. Well, first off, it's just fun. I mean, it's almost like talking to a child, and when you see the world through the child's eyes, it's just magical. And then you see that child grow up. Well, it's the same with animals. When you can tune into them and you get their perspective, even though it's extremely different, it's also very insightful. Then when we have them as our companions, honestly, it's just fun. I mean, I had an exchange between my 2 dogs and my cat last night that was just like Comedy Central. It was amazing. So there's the fun aspect. It enhances relationships, but I think more importantly, it lets us understand that these are thinking, feeling, sentient beings. And when it comes to things of lifestyle, environment, habitat, and for us, habitat would be our homes, and then also medical treatments. As most people know, my dog is going through some stuff right now. So my shift with her has been medical treatments. And I think it's super important to get their feedback. Does this medicine make you feel good? Does it even work? What do you want to do? So yes, there's the very fun aspect. There's a very practical aspect, but then there's also the very deep honoring that animal as a being and honoring their wishes. Well, that's very, very complicated, but in essence, one thing that I think about is, for example, a lot of people heat their homes with wood from trees, and they just think of it as firewood. But that firewood at one time was a living tree. And I know a lot of people are going to think it sounds weird, but I don't care. When I first had a communication with a tree, I was stunned because, like so many other people, it never even entered my reality that a tree could actually have a thought or have an intelligent, sentient reaction. So I think if we get back to that and get back in touch with the earth and the plants and the animal, even like it's said in Native American traditions, a lot of teachings are that the animals don't mind being harvested for food because they understand the cycle of life and that they're giving their life so that others can eat, as long as it's done in a respectful way. And so this is what I think, no matter how life is connected, I think that we need to get back to that. And with modern society, it has been so outrageously removed that we have just forgotten things like, the medicinal benefits of tea, the healing properties of crystals, the things that the animals can teach us. If we look at things from a different way, which the Lemurians did, and you incorporate those energies and all those sentient beings and all that energy into your everyday life, and you accept it as fact instead of just mere fantasy, I think that as a species, we will evolve and ascend to the next level of consciousness, not only more rapidly, but I think it's going to benefit everything on the planet, not just the humans, but the animals, nature, water, trees, everything. So if we can get back in touch with that, with the Lemurian Expo, I think it's going to have a ripple effect in collective consciousness. I'm going to be teaching Introduction to Animal Communication. And in my basic class, I teach how to get you started. And so I teach things like three keys to animal communication, 5 ways that that information is received, 5 tips to accelerate your progress. And what really excites me is that even with just a little bit of information and a little bit of having an open mind, every single person gets it, and they get it quickly. And the longer I teach this, the more I'm just amazed at how everyone can do this, even in just a short time. So if the first session is usually at laying the foundation, and I'm giving a lot of information so that people understand, and we do communicate with animals in the very first session, even if it's only 3 hours. And then in the second session, we go a little bit more in depth, and I give as much individual attention to each of the students as possible, so that they can then come away with the workshop, not with just a fun experience. What I give them is tips, tools, and resources so that they can incorporate this into their everyday life without drastically changing their schedule. And to me, that's key, because we're all busy. So I literally don't want you to come and only have a good time. You will, but I want you to take it far beyond that workshop. And so even though I teach it a little bit differently, and some people go, why did you teach me that? It's because I tell people how to incorporate it, and I want them to take it with it. So I'm super excited, because so far, every single person can do this.